Hi, I'm Jonathan Fox. I'm a master student under Dr. Brian Schwartz in the turfgrass breeding program. Today I'm going to talk to you about fertilizer calibration. Fertilizer calibration is very important for our turfgrass program. Without the proper calibration, you won't be able to know what rates you're going at, so it could potentially affect your results in any kind of studies that you might be having. So today I'm just going to be focusing on Bermuda grass recommendations, which is typically about half a pound to a pound of nitrogen per month during the growing season, so for about 4 or 5 months. So to start off, I'll go through supplies. You're going to need a tape measure to measure out your distances, flags to put at your start and end points, your fertilizer of choice. Today we've chosen Milorganite, in a 5-gallon bucket, so that way you can actually pour your fertilizer into the bucket and be able to weigh it on the scale that you'll also need. And then also, of course, our spreader that we'll be using today, our Anderson spreader. So to start off, you'll need to have your swath width. Typically, for an Anderson spreader, if you're using this type of fertilizer, it will have it already calculated on there. So it's calculated on the bag for a 10-foot swath width, effective swath width. So after you've got your effective swath width, you'll have to measure out your distance. So since our swath width is 10 foot, we need to be able to run that spreader for a total of 1,000 square foot. So by doing that, you simply take 1,000, divide it by 10, which is your swath width, and that gives you 100 foot. So the next step will be to measure out that 100 foot. It's already been done here for simplicity of the video, but obviously you measure out your 100 foot, put your start flag down and put your end flag down, so that way you know when to turn your spreader on and off. So now for the next step, we'll do our calculation. So today we're using Milorganite. The fertilizer ratings on this are 520. So as seen here, the 520, and that's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So the entire bag has 5% nitrogen in it, shown here. And so we know that, like I said earlier, I want to do a half a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square foot. That's just a common Bermuda grass rating. So in order to get that, take your half pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square foot. 1 pound of product has 5% of nitrogen in it. So you do the math here. It's just 0.5 divided by 0.05, and that gives you 10 pounds of product per 1,000 square foot. So that's going to be our goal for today. All right, so we know that we're going to need 10 pounds of this product per 1,000 square foot. So we need to go over that rate in order to calibrate, so that way we can actually measure what we've already thrown and what we haven't. So we've got our scale here, and if you go ahead and place the bucket on the scale and you use it before and after, you actually don't have to tear the scale for the bucket. Grab your fertilizer and a pocket knife. So we want to go over that 10 pounds. Like I said, we're actually going to try to go to 20 pounds just to make sure that we have plenty in there if our settings are off on our spreader. Okay. As you can see, we've got 20 pounds. Simply take your fertilizer now and place it into your hopper. As I said earlier, most of the fertilizer bags already have some preset settings, so we have a decent idea of where our settings need to be, but that's just a starting point. All spreaders are a little bit different, so you need to kind of set to that, but it does still need to be calibrated afterwards. So calibrate properly. Make sure that the person who is actually calibrating is the person that's going to be spreading the material that day, because everybody walks at different speed, and everybody just is a little bit different when they're walking with a spreader. So make sure to take a few steps back, because you want to start right when you hit the flag. You don't want to start before or after. You want to be able to start right as you hit it. So just kind of simply flow into it. Put the spreader on, walk the distance. walked our 1,000 square foot, we come back and we'll just put our material back in our bucket so that we can weigh it and figure out what we actually were able to throw in that total 1,000 square foot. Take out our grate, pour all the material into your 5-gallon bucket. Weigh it. Okay, so as discussed earlier, we wanted 10 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square foot. It looks like we've actually thrown 11 since we only have 9 pounds left. So in this case, we come to our spreader. And this is how we change how far the hopper can open. So if we wanted to go down, we would just go this way, which is what we're going to need today, but you also can go up as well. So we were right here at the Q, so we'd probably go down to about middle of O and P here. Make sure to tighten back down. And then simply redo the entire process and continue to weigh. It shouldn't take but about 1 or 2 more tries to actually get the correct rate. So now with the new setting on our hopper, I've actually walked the route again. So we've walked precisely 1,000 square foot. Take our grate out and measure out our material again. Look at our scale. Hopefully we're at 10 pounds. And that looks about right. So there you have it, 2 passes, and we're able to calibrate fairly quickly. It can be a quick process, but a very necessary process, especially in research. Like I said, if you don't know what's going out, it could greatly affect your results on any kind of studies that you have. So very important that you know how to do this process and you do it very frequently, especially with different fertilizers.